All right, fantasy fans, buckle up because today we are diving deep into a major upset that'll have you questioning everything you thought you knew about fantasy football.
We're talking about a comeback story for the ages.
We've got the game footage, the post-game analysis, everything we need to break down how the Boston Maddogs pulled off what some are calling the impossible.
Yeah, impossible's a good word for it.
All that thought got to set the stage first.
Right.
Okay, so picture this. The Mad Dogs are coming off a brutal loss. I mean, they got crushed the week before. Morale's in the dumps. Everyone and their grandma's already written them off.
And who could blame them? They were going up against the we want all the smoke team, completely undefeated.
A real powerhouse. But then, bam! The Mad Dogs drop a season-high 167 points, you hear me?
Yeah.
167, the highest score ever recorded in this league's history. It's insane.
Yeah, no, it's wild. And it just shows you, right, anything can happen in fantasy football.
Yeah.
All these algorithms and predictions out the window.
Out the window. So you're telling me a team's record doesn't necessarily predict how they'll perform.
Exactly. One game does not a season make. This upset really underscores the volatile nature of fantasy sports.
Yeah.
You can't just rely on past performance.
And speaking of performance, Chris Godwin, what can I say, man? The guy was on fire. The game footage we have is just ridiculous. He's weaving through defenders like they're standing still. And the points. 35 fantasy points. 35.
See, that's the thing about fantasy football. You've got to look at individual player performance. Because even if a team's having a rough go, one player can absolutely explode and single-handedly carry them to victory.
And that is exactly what happened here. Godwin was the X factor, no doubt. But hey, let's not forget the underdog, right? Sam Leoporta, this guy hadn't broken double digits all season long. And then, bam, 12 points. Talk about a clutch performance.
Right. And, there's a tendency to chalk that up to luck, but the analysis we've got here actually points to a strategic shift in the Mad Dogs' offensive plays. They played smart, leveraged Leoporta's strengths, and he delivered.
And you've got to give props to the Mad Dogs manager. This guy, in his victory speech, was hyped, but he also dropped some serious knowledge.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he definitely had that I told you so energy going on, but beneath all the bravado, there was some really insightful commentary about how fantasy players approach the game. He was calling out this obsession with big names, drafting those superstar players early on.
Everyone's chasing the big names, he said. I wrote down the quote. Hold on. Here it is. Everyone sleeps on the waiver wire, but that's where you find the diamonds in the rough.
Preach. He's basically saying, don't be afraid to adapt, to make those tough decisions, even if it means benching a big name for someone who's showing more potential in the current game. He's all about consistency, man.
And he's got a point. So bottom line, what's the takeaway here? Should we all be terrified of getting Mad Dog's Ed in our fantasy leagues?
Here's the thing. This upset, as crazy as it was, it's a good reminder that any given Sunday or, fantasy football week is anyone's game. Yeah, there's the statistical side, the rankings, all that. But momentum, individual player performance, a little bit of luck,
Yeah.
those are all factors too. You can't predict it.
The expert analysis you sent over, they had this perfect line. I loved it. Don't get too comfortable with those power rankings. The beauty of fantasy football, it's in its unpredictability.
Couldn't said it better myself.
There you have it, folks. Upsets happen. Be prepared, stay flexible, and never underestimate the underdog. You just never know who's going to come out swinging.